Okay, class, so today we are going to take notes on finding the surface area of pyramids on the front and then cones on the back. So make sure you have your formula sheet. This is where I'm getting the formulas from. There's two different types of surface areas for pyramids. You have the lateral, which is the side. So with this pyramid, alright, our lateral surface areas are the sides. So when we think about finding the lateral surface area, we're only finding the area of triangles, basically. Okay? Because all pyramids have some kind of polygon for the base, so this one has a square. But then the lateral, or the sides, is always triangles with all of your pyramids that you'll deal with. Okay? So that's finding the lateral. And then for the total, you still find the lateral. Notice how it's the same, but then you add in the area of the base. So with this one, we'd have 4 triangles and then a square, and that would be finding our total surface area. Alright, so whenever you see pyramids, you want to think, alright, that all the sides are triangles and then my base is some shape. It can be a triangle, a square, some kind of regular polygon like a pentagon or a hexagon. So we'll also have to use those formulas also when we think about getting the area of the base. Remember that capital B stands for the area of the base, and you have to use one of these formulas up here. So make sure you keep your formula sheet handy while we're doing these problems. So back to our notes. These are the two formulas, 1/2 PL for the lateral surface area, and then 1/2 PL plus the base area for the total. And again, I've written out what each letter stands for. So the P stands for the perimeter of the base. So when you look at these shapes, the base here looks like a square. It could be a rectangle, but that's what it looks like. It's the perimeter of this base. Here, the base is a hexagon. So you find the perimeter of that hexagon. In this one, the base is a triangle. So we find the perimeter of the triangle. And remember, the perimeter is the sum of all the sides. Okay, so if you don't remember, let's add a little note there. P is, I'll get it right in a minute. Okay, P is the sum of all sides. Okay? L, this is a new one. We didn't use this when we found surface area of our prisms and cylinders. Right? L is called the slant height. Some people like to call it the leaning height to go with the L. But if you look at each picture, the slant height is not straight up and down. It has to be slanted. It's like going down the side of one of those triangles. It's actually giving you the height of the triangles that are the sides. If we looked at it on the actual figure, your slant height would go from here down, slanted through the pyramid, not completely straight down. Okay? So remember, slant height is not the regular vertical height, but it's the slanted distance from the top of your pyramid, which is called the apex, if you want to know that. The top of the pyramid down to the bottom. Okay? And then, of course, B is the area of the base. And remember, when you get to that B, you have to use one of these formulas, regular area formulas, depending on the shape of the base. Okay? So, we know our parts. So, let's look at our first example. And I've written some stuff already. So, we have this square pyramid. It's a square pyramid because the base is a square. Each side of the base is 8 units long. The slant height is 7.2 units long. Right? So what I like to do is always just redraw my base separate from the picture. So we can go ahead and label the slant height and then ignore that picture, because for the perimeter and the base area, we only want to focus on this square, this base. So the perimeter, there's 4 sides and each side is 8. So I do 8 times 4 to get 32. For the slant height, that came from here, it's 7.2. And then for the base area, this is a square. All the sides are 8, so the base times the height is just 8 times 8, which would be 8 squared, and that's 64. Okay? So now you look back at your formulas if you don't remember them. To get the lateral surface area, because we're finding both lateral and total, you have to use 1/2 times the perimeter times the slant height. So 1/2 times 32 times 7.2. That'll give us our slanted height. You can put it in the calculator, just like you write it on your paper. So, and this one's been drawn on. Let me see if I can clean it up a little bit. Okay? So 1 divided by 2 times 32 times 7.2 equals 115.2. So you see how you can see that better? Okay? So that's our lateral surface area. 115.2 square meters. Now we're going to do the total surface area. So that's S with the T. So we always use that that lateral surface area, 1/2 PL, 1/2 PL. So we just found it. It's 115.2. So we can go ahead and put that in there. And then we have to add the area of the base to that number. So you go here. Our area of the base was 64. So we're going to add 64 to 115.2. It's already in my calculator, right? So I can just hit plus 115, no, plus 64, because I already have the 115.2, and that's 179.2. Okay, and that's my total surface area. Okay. Example 2. Let me make sure y'all get that whole answer. Alright, now let's look at number 2. So this time we have a pentagonal pyramid. The base is a pentagon. Okay, we're going to find the lateral and the total surface area. So you always want to first start out finding the perimeter, the slant height, and the base area. So our basic figure, our base is a pyramid, a pentagon, not a pyramid. All the sides are 11, right? And the apothem length, you always have to know that, or keep that in mind when you're finding the area of a regular polygon, is 7.6. So the number I didn't write on my base picture is the 10.3. That's going to be our slant height, okay? So go ahead and put 10.3 there. Now, we have 5 sides that are all 11 units long, so to get the perimeter, we'll do 11 times 5. That's going to give us 55. Now to get the base area, and I'm going to write this formula just to make us remember. We have a regular polygon, so we have to use the formula 1/2 AP to get the area of the base. Right? So 1/2 AP. Now the A is this little distance, looks like a radius, goes from the center to one side. So it's 7.6, and the perimeter is this 55, the first thing we found. So times 55, and we get, put it in your calculator, 1 divided by 2 times 7.6 times 55, and we get 209. Alright, so now we have the 3 parts that we need to find the surface area. So to find the the lateral surface area, we have to do 1/2 times the perimeter times the slant height, which is 10.3. 1 divided by 2 times 55 times 10.3. So I'm going to round everything to the 10th, so 283.3 would be our lateral surface area. Square kilometers. Okay? Now we need to find the total surface area. So ST, you take the lateral surface area, 283.3, and add the base area to it. So plus 209. It's already in your calculator, so you just hit plus 209. Make sure I put a 0, not a decimal, and hit enter. We get 492.3. Okay? And that will also be square kilometers. So those are our two answers. Alright. Let's move to number 3. Number 3, this time we have a triangular pyramid. It's called a triangular pyramid because our base is a triangle. So I'm going to draw it separately outside. All the side lengths of this triangle are 8. The height, which is this line that's through here, is 6.9. And our slant height, the L, is 9.3. So we need to find the perimeter. All the sides are 8. So 8 times 3, 24. Okay? To find the area of the base. This is a triangle. You look at your formula sheet. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So we'll do 1/2 times 8, which would be your base, times the height, which is 6.9. 8 the base, the height is 6.9. Alright. 1/2 times 8 times 6.9. Alright, so we get 27.6. So we have our 3 parts: perimeter, slant height, base area. We can find the lateral and the total surface area of this pyramid. So the the lateral surface area is 1/2 times the perimeter times the slant height. Take a minute and see if you can finish this one. So if you calculated it correctly, it's 111.6 square yards. Alright? Now let's see if you can calculate your total surface area. So you have to take the lateral surface area, 111.6, and add the base area of 27.6 to it, and you get 139.2 square yards. Okay, let's go to the back. On the back, we incorporate the Pythagorean theorem into the problem. So to kind of keep this shorter, I'm going to just have us find the total surface area, since we have an extra step, and that's okay because you find the lateral when you find the total also. So if we look at our pyramid, we know the base is a square, all the sides are 7. We know the actual height of the pyramid from the top straight down to the bottom is 8, but we don't have our slant height. And I'm going to use a little red pen to kind of highlight it. We don't know this slanted height, right? And we have to have it in order to do the surface area. So what